apparently one of the issues some employers are a little bit worried about these days. Time theft is what it's called. That's anything from taking longer than scheduled breaks, logging off early, using your work hours to do personal things, basically not working when you're on the clock. It should be. It's an issue, but likely exacerbated by the fact that many employees are still working from home. Now, maybe an archaic way of doing so, but many employers still use the clock as a way to measure worker productivity. Some are even using software to monitor the activity of employees who are working at home. In fact, a Canadian accountant was recently ordered to repay her employer for time theft after the company's tracking software determined that she was performing personal tasks while she claimed to be working. The court ruling marks one of the first instances in which such technology has been used to order a worker to repay an employer for slacking off on the job. While the Bulls weren't slacking off on money-making Friday for stocks, the TSX rose 161 points to close above 20,500. Technology stocks were strong. Shopify added 5.6% to $54.16. In the resource space, lumber producer West Fraser Timber up 3.1%, $99.82. MTY Food Group was up 2.9%, a pretty broad-based rally today. Helping matters too, gold, which keeps on moving higher. The futures price up to $1,928 the ounce. Oil to $81.40 the barrel. On Wall Street, the Dow rose 330 points to 33,375. S&P rose 1.9%, and the Nasdaq caught up 288 points. Helped by Netflix, that stock up 8.5% as it delivered strong subscriber growth numbers. Shares in Alphabet, the Google parent, up 5.7%, $99.28. It detailed layoffs. Bitcoin red hot, topping 22,300 US, and the Canadian dollar 74.75 cents US. This is City News.
It's Employment Law Q&A.
Here's Canada's leading employment lawyer, Howard Levitt of Levitt Sheep.
What is a constructive dismissal?
A constructive dismissal is when the terms of your employment are dramatically changed to your detriment and you refuse to accept it. You can then sue as if you'd been fired.
If I am unionized, can I sue for wrongful dismissal?
You can only grieve for your union, and a layoff is not a wrongful dismissal as it is for non-union employees. Unionized employees can be laid off generally with impunity.
What are my rights if I'm being investigated?
You should obtain legal counsel, understand what the issues are, demand to see the evidence against you, and be ready to sue if you're fired. Employees are required to honestly answer questions involving investigations of serious concerns. If they answer dishonestly or refuse to answer, it's usually cause for dismissal without severance.
To contact Levitt Sheep, visit levittllp.com. Employment Law Q&A.
From City News 680 and Howard Levitt.
City News Time, 11:30.
Toronto's #1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is City News 680. Everywhere.
Good evening. This is Friday, January 20th. I'm Christy Ritchie. And I'm Danielle Bain. Here's what's making news this hour.
Toronto police are investigating an assault in broad daylight near a busy downtown intersection that left one woman dead. Investigators have made an arrest in the case.
Near York University tonight, Toronto police are investigating after a woman says she was stabbed near the school. She then took the subway all the way to Yonge and Dundas with serious injuries. Toronto police say a man in his 50s is suspected of trying to push someone onto the tracks at Rosedale subway station. Violence is on the rise in Toronto schools.
Yes, it could.
A Toronto youth official says more of the city's budget needs to be invested in youth community programs.
Only a pair of games on the ice in the National Hockey League tonight, and Henderson sizzles in round 2 of the LPGA Tournament of Champions. Sports at 45. Money-making Friday for stocks. We'll have the totals. Bitcoin bounces, plus the Bank of Canada expected to raise interest rates again, but it could be the last time for a while. Business at 56.
City News Time, 11:31. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
And this report is brought to you by Northwood Mortgage. If you're on the eastbound 401, the ramp to Bennett Road closed for a collision. station that's in the Bowmanville area. In Hamilton on the eastbound 403 at King Road, we've got a stalled vehicle blocking the right lane. Emergency crews right there. Getting around on city streets. The good news, southbound Lansdowne at College, problems haven't cleared. We had a police investigation that's over with. And now we're getting an update about that crash we had at Black Creek and Lawrence. So right now, southbound Black Creek at Lawrence, all southbound lanes are closed, and that is for collision emergency crews, of course, on the scene. Consolidate your debts into one easy monthly payment thanks to Northwood. They'll work hard to find a custom solution that works for you. Visit northwoodmortgage.com, license number 10349. Your next report is coming up at 11:41. Let's get the forecast with Natasha Ramza.
We're able to locate a suspect and take that suspect into custody. Currently being investigated for the offense of aggravated assault.
Police say an autopsy will be conducted to confirm what exactly caused the woman's death, and that charge could be upgraded.
It's a very, very tragic occurrence, and one of a series of tragic occurrences that have happened in our city recently. It troubles me greatly.
Investigators are still appealing for any witnesses to come forward. Phil Martino, City News.
City News Time 11:34. Toronto police investigating a stabbing that happened on one end of the city but was discovered in another. Constable Laura Brabant says they received a call for a stabbing victim at Dundas Station at around 8:40 tonight.
Right now it appears that the stabbing did not occur at Dundas Subway Station and that it possibly occurred up near York University.
Constable adds that that's what the victim told them when officers arrived at the subway station. Paramedics tell City News also at around 8:40 they arrived on scene at Yonge and Dundas and found a woman in her 20s with serious stab injuries. She was taken to a hospital. At the moment, there's no word on suspects. Police remain on scene at both Yonge Dundas and at York University for the investigation.
City News Time 11:35. Toronto police say a suspect has been arrested after they tried to push a person onto the subway tracks at Rosedale TTC station this afternoon. Police were called to the station at Yonge Street and Crescent Road just before 12:30. A short time later, police said a suspect, believed to be a man in his 50s, was arrested. There is no word on charges at this point.
City News Time 11:35. Violence at schools in Toronto on the rise. Last week, a gun was fired inside a bathroom at East York Alternative Secondary School. And yesterday, another Toronto school went into a lockdown. City's Shauna Hunt reports.
Frightening moments unfolding inside Mark Garneau Collegiate yesterday when a fistfight broke out and a student believed they saw a gun. He has a gun! Thankfully, no one was seriously injured, and police say upon investigation, no weapon was found. But scenarios like this are happening more and more in Toronto schools. While Mayor John Tory says a working group has been established to try and tackle these issues, Stephen Mensah with the Toronto Youth Cabinet points to the latest city budget and the almost $50 million funding increase to hire more Toronto police officers. He says that kind of money should also be invested in community programs.
The violence we've seen in our schools stems from the violence we saw in our communities. And I think some of the things Toronto Youth Cabinet has been pushing forward is creation of more youth hubs and enhanced youth spaces and expanding those hours.
Shauna Hunt, City News.
City News Time 11:36. Premier Doug Ford says he's confident no developers were tipped off prior to the move to open up portions of the Greenbelt for development. City's Richard Southern reports.
Premier Ford asked for the first time today about the Integrity Commissioner's new investigation into how the housing minister handled the Greenbelt. The Premier asked point blank if he or anyone in his government tipped off developers to the fact that the protected land is going to be opened up for development.
I'm confident no one gave anyone a heads up.
It's been revealed that some developers with PC ties bought big swaths of protected Greenbelt land just weeks before the government announced plans last November to open it up for housing development.
There's a little misnomer out there that this was government land. It's not government land. It's private individuals' land that have the right to sell it to anyone they want.
The OPP tells City News it's still looking at whether or not there are grounds to launch a criminal investigation. Richard, Southern City News.
City News Time 11:37. Advocates are worried that the city's proposed budget for the Vision Zero road safety plan is too low and could indirectly lead to even more pedestrian fatalities on city streets. City's Tina Yazdani reports.
Road safety advocate Jess Speaker tells me there's no political will to make the changes needed to reach zero, adding projected funding for the program is being slashed this year.
This year, Vision Zero was supposed to get $44 million